everyone, it's Kelsey here, and today I'm going to share with you some different ways that I was playing around with the new texture paste that I got. So I have a few different stencils, but I pulled this one out because it's got 3 different stencils in one basically, and it's from Heidi Swapp. I got this at Michael's. And so the first way that I did it was just I put some dots and I just put them plain white on a colored background, and I did really like the way that turned out. I thought the white looked really good on that kind of darkish green. And so now I'm taking some gelatos, and this is a red gelato, and I just put a little bit of it in the bottom of that plastic, piece of trash basically, my little palette, and then I added some texture paste to this. And it wasn't quite red enough, so I added a little bit more. Looking back on it, I probably would have added even more red because it still came out kind of pink colored, but I didn't mind that. So, and I did tape the stencil down. It's not super hard to hold it in place, but it's not super easy either. So it's just easier to tape it down a little bit. And I just spread it all over. And I didn't clean the stencil in between because it didn't really matter because it was just white paste. And then you can clear it off really easily. You can actually, if you're just using plain white, you can put a lot of that excess back into the container. Obviously, since I colored it, I can't put that back into the container, but you can always use it on another project if you find that you have too much. But definitely start out with very little for a small surface like that, because it really does not take very much at all. But on the other hand, you don't want to use too little, because it is kind of hard to get the exact same color. So if you've got to mix up 2 batches, it's kind of hard to make the exact same color. So it will probably be a little bit off. But, it's just something to play around with and figure out how much you need or how little. So then I decided to try coloring it with this acrylic paint from Studio Calico. And again, I used very little paint, or very little texture paste. It just doesn't take very much, and that's really nice. So as you can see, I'm just kind of spreading it around in the little palette. I love saving those containers. They're so perfect for mixing up stuff like this or painting, just anything that you want to throw away and not have to clean up afterwards. And again, I just pulled out a bunch of Project Life cards from my Studio Calico kits, and a lot of them I switched over to a blank side or even a grid side just to have something to play around with, and I'm sure that I'll use these eventually in my Project Life, but mainly I was just trying to experiment and see what I liked and what I didn't like about texture paste, since this was kind of my first time using it. And I really like the way that green turned out. I really love the scattered stencils like that, and I'm definitely going to be making more stencils on my silhouette. Since I got that stencil material, I'm going to try, and hopefully it'll work out. And so I'll be using more stencils in the future. I don't have a ton of stencils. I have a few, but I definitely want more. So here I'm just pulling some texture paste out, smeared it in the container again, and here I'm using a little bit of the Heidi Swapp Color Shine. And I wanted to shake it up to make sure that I actually got the shiny part of the Color Shine. And this mixes up, but it turns like a funny texture a little bit. I don't know if it's because I added too much liquid, but it turned out alright in the end. You just have to mix it up really good. It wasn't super shiny, but if you had a color of mist that you really wanted, and you could mix it with the texture paste, then I think it was great, but I wouldn't expect it to have a super great shine to it. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, and I will see you guys again soon. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Have a good